In this video, we're going to look at topic 35, example 1, find the greatest common factor. So here we're asked what is the greatest common factor, the GCF, of the terms of 12x to the 5th plus 8x to the 4th minus 6x cubed. So what we want to do is we want to look for a common factor first with the numbers of the coefficients. So I'm going to take the number 12, I'll write the whole thing, so 12x to the 5th. And I want to list any numbers that go into 12. And usually I pair them off so that I stay organized. So 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. We don't want that division sign. So 3 times 4. And then x to the 5th, that means that there are 5 x's. So we're going to write those out. Now, as you get better at this, you will not show all of this work. But for now, we just want to show the whole process. So 8x to the 4th, same idea. You're looking for factors of 8. What numbers divide into 8? So we'd have 1 and 8, 2 and 4. And then 4 x's. And finally, for 6x cubed, we're going to ignore the negative for now. In the next video, I'll talk about what to do with positive and negative numbers. But for now, let's just look at 6x cubed. So the numbers that go into 6 would be 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Now you could list them, so like say you had 6x cubed, you can list them this way. I tend to just write them in pairs just to make sure I don't miss any numbers. It just helps me stay a little bit more organized. And then x cubed, there would be 3 x's. Note that we are looking for common factors. All right, so we want to see what they have in common. So for the numbers 12, 8, 6, and 12, 8, and 6, we want to look at the factors that go into them. Well, 6 goes into both 6 and 12, but it does not go into 8, so we can't use that. 3 goes into, again, 6 and 3, but not into 8, so we can't use that. And then 2 goes into all 3 of them. So our GCF is going to be a 2, and then we have to look at the variables. Notice that they all do have a common factor of 1, but we're looking for the greatest common factor, so 2 would be a greater number. So we're going to use a GCF with the number 2. Now, in terms of the variable, this is pretty much easier than looking at the factors. But in this example, we have 3 x's for this one. The example here, there's 4 of them, but there's only 3 in common, right? And then here there's 5, but we can only take 3 of them. What you're going to find is that the variables, you're going to wind up taking the lowest degree. So x to the 5th, x to the 4th, x to the 3rd, they have 3 or x to the 3rd in common. So I can take out an x to the 3rd. So my GCF for this specific problem or this specific example would be 2x cubed. Okay. So what you want to do, just to kind of review that, find the factors, list all of the numbers that go into each of the coefficients, in this case 12, 8, and 6, and then find the largest one that they have in common. All right, so we're looking for the greatest common factor. They could have other factors in common, but we're specifically looking for the greatest one. And then in terms of the variables, it's going to be the lowest degree. Sorry about that. It's going to be the lowest degree, so x cubed in this case. If you had x to the 8th and say x squared would be your common factor, the greatest common factor. That's pretty much it. You can try the problems below to give you some extra practice. If there are multiple variables, you don't do anything differently. So like in number 4, you have both a and b. So you would find the coefficient that they had in common, how many a's do they have in common, and how many b's do they have in common. And then all of those would be put into your GCF. It is possible to not have a greatest common factor. If they don't have anything else in common, you would just use 1 as the greatest common factor. And it is possible to have numbers and not variables, or variables and not numbers other than the number 1. All right, so practice that and you should get the hang of it pretty quickly.